Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call us right now for more help at 866-945-8070. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning, October 31st, 2017. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. And I'm going to record some more videos today for another daily vlog. And see how this goes. See what people say. See if you like it. Either you like it or you hate it, or somewhere in between. And I'm about to take yesterday's video that's uploaded to YouTube and share it in social media, because that's the next step. Once we start recording videos, we've got to share them with people. We've got to use social media to get those videos out there so people can see them, and then they can comment on them and let us know what they like, what they hate, or they just ignore us altogether. So yesterday I recorded this video that you're seeing on my screen, and now we're going to share it in social media. That's kind of the process. Once you create a video, the next thing you do is you have to sort of bring it to your audience's attention. There's lots of ways to do that. Of course, the number one thing I suggest is writing a blog post and embedding that video in your blog. But even beyond that, you still need to go into social media. Now, this video was done sort of by request from some people, or it was inspired partly by a request, partly by a suggestion. So now I'm going to go back into those threads, of course, specifically, and share it. So we're going to grab this link right here, which is the sort of official YouTube link. Right-click, copy link address. And we'll go into Facebook and start sharing it around and let people know, hey, I uploaded this video, I processed it, here it is. Let me know what you think. You guys ready to go for your walk? Who's ready for their walk? Yeah, me too. I'm excited. These guys love their walks. I actually really enjoy them too. One of my favorite parts of the day. I usually don't take my phone with me. I'm only taking it so I can record this part of my day today. It's a beautiful, quiet morning in our neighborhood. I love where we live in Burbank. It's just nice, it's quiet. And sorry guys, no bread for you today. God knows what's in that. One thing I started doing a while back was I've been using the brain again to just kind of keep a daily log of what I was doing, particularly what apps I was using. I got out of the habit for a while, partly because I was having trouble with the brain app itself, but I think I've got that worked out, so I've started doing it again. And it's just kind of fun. It's kind of fun for me to track. You know, it's another side of a day in the life, because it ends up being a log of all the applications that I use. For example, if I go up here to October, which I always bookmark the current month for the daily log that I keep, and here's today, Tuesday already. And I've already linked up Evernote as an app that I've used. Let's add the brain itself, because now I've used this one. And when you start typing the name of what's called a thought, and it's already there, it'll come up so you can just link it. And now if I go over to Evernote, for example, I see kind of a history of all the days, at least that I log, that I've used Evernote. The truth is I use Evernote every single day, pretty much ever. And that links up to applications I use. And to the right, you'll see, kind of the list of just about everything. I'm sure there's things on here that I've used that I didn't bother to keep. In other words, I don't keep it perfectly. But it's fun to keep this log, and I love using the brain. And then, there's other things, like here on this particular day, I took a snapshot, and these are flowers I bought for my wife, and I just thought they were very pretty, and she was very happy when I brought them home for her, so I made a memory of it by including it in the log. That's what I love about the brain, is I've got these notes that I can keep, and of course I can attach photos, and I can attach links to websites. It's extremely versatile. That's why I love using the brain throughout the day. So pretty much every day, first thing I do, going back to the daily, if I go into today's, for example, I started writing notes. This is day 2 of my vlog. Let's see. I don't know where this is going to go. It may go nowhere. I may decide by tomorrow not to do it anymore. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the reaction is. Usually the more other people get excited about something I've done, the more I get excited about doing it. It's Tuesday, which means today's a day that I've reserved pretty much exclusively for creating content. Once in a while I'll let a one-on-one session with a client creep in, but for the most part my calendar's off limits today. so I can focus on producing content. A lot of people say to me, hey Seth, I don't know how you find the time. This is how I find the time. I make appointments with myself to get it done. And I live and die by my calendar. Well, hopefully I don't die. I haven't died yet. But I live by my calendar, and everything goes on there. So that includes time that I schedule with myself to get content done. Otherwise it would never get done. I'd be too busy running around putting out fires and chasing things I probably don't really even need to be spending time chasing. So again, off limits, and I really look forward to these times. I get a sense of peace actually about it, because I know I'm not going to let anything come in today. I'm not going to let anybody bug me. I'm not going to let myself get stressed out, because I'm going to pretty much put a shield up and block it all out, because I want to focus on creating content. So I look forward very much to Tuesdays for that reason, because it's a day that I get to spend producing content and doing pretty much nothing else. The objective now is I got to get in the shower. Yesterday you saw in my vlog I didn't shower till like 5 o'clock or later. Today I'm going to shower first thing in the morning here. I finished walking my dogs, had breakfast, checked my blood sugar, done that whole routine. Next thing I'm going to do is get in the shower and get ready, because for video purposes, especially if I'm recording, videos that I'm doing professionally, I want to be dressed and well groomed, of course, and all that good stuff. So I am going to do that, and I am excited because the goal is to have one video recorded before 11 a.m. 11 a.m. I have my 97 and up call, which if you haven't, you've got to check that out. It's a great program. You get 2 calls a week with me and the group, and we help each other, we give each other advice. Sometimes we just shoot the shit, but a lot of the times we spend very productively answering. If you come in with a question, guarantee you we'll spend the hour answering your question. Otherwise, I just go through some of the stuff that's in our course outline, and I'm just constantly trying to teach those of you who are in the group the things that I do that work, that I feel have made me and continue to make me successful at what I'm doing. So we'll be recording the 97 and up call at 11 o'clock this morning, and then at 12 o'clock I record the Authentic Accountant podcast, which I will then edit later tonight. I love doing that because even though it's a little bit of pressure that I have to get it out and done the night before it goes live, what it allows me to do is be very sort of agile. It lets me be timely about things. If there's a hot topic and something that I want to jump in and discuss and get it produced right away, I can do that. So, and if not, I've got a lot of content recorded that I can, and I've done this already on one episode actually. The episode, I think it was episode 2, about dealing with difficult clients, that was pieced together from about 5 or 6 different recordings that I had been doing with Deborah over many, many months. So I have a lot of material to use in case I can't record one Tuesday or something like that. And by the way, editing a podcast is no different. I actually use Camtasia, and we record it all in Zoom, and I drop the Zoom video in Camtasia. I strip out the video track and just render the audio, and I cut it and edit it. It's basically the exact same process. It's actually easier because I don't have to worry about the visual part. I only have to worry about the audio track and getting that edited. And oftentimes, especially if we've really stayed on point with the topic, I don't really have to do that much editing. I just have to splice in the intro and maybe cut out a few pieces where I feel like we've gotten off topic, and then render it, upload it, and produce it. And producing it's really easy because I'm doing it in my WordPress site, which makes it really easy. All I have to do is duplicate the last one that I did and swap out the video URL and write up the new description, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So anyway, I love Tuesdays. You should have a content day like I do, just one day that's set aside where you do nothing but produce content all day long. Nobody's allowed to get on the phone with you. Nobody's allowed to bend your ear, and you're not going to really respond to emails too much. It's just a day for you to focus on something that's going to help you grow tremendously. Okay, so I spent a good chunk of this morning preparing a post on a product called Dynalist, which is, it's like bullet points on steroids. There's another product I've written up in the blog called Workflow, and this is a direct competitor to that. And I recently started playing with Dynalist again. I looked at it once before and didn't love what I saw. Now I'm looking at it again and I'm actually liking it. They've made a lot of improvements to it. And that's the other thing I see that I like about the product, is as a company, it seems like there's people there at Dynalist actually making updates regularly. Whereas Workflow, it feels like a bit more of a ghost town. It's like somebody built a really cool product and then left it alone and said, okay, that's it, we're good. So now that I am no longer writing content for anybody else on the planet but me, which has been a goal of mine this year, is to get out of all that because, frankly, what these guys pay me is never really enough for the amount of effort and energy that has to go into these things. And the ROI for me is much better when I'm simply producing content for myself. So now you're about to get a look into the sort of anatomy of a blog post / video tutorial. And we're going to look at how to use Dynalist. And this goes into the bigger picture of the complaint or concern that people have that they don't have time. You make the time, you put it on your calendar. Tuesday mornings, my objective before I record my 11 o'clock episode with 97 and up is to get one piece of content written and recorded. The editing I can do later, but written and recorded is the key. So I use Evernote, of course, to sort of catalog everything I do, and I tag it blog post ideas. And now I'm going to I want to kind of show you, it's a multi-layered thing, because I want to show you, how to use Dynalist, but then I also want to use Dynalist as the use case for how to kind of outline the creation of your blog post or video tutorial. Dynalist is a great tool for this, and I'm also going to show you the mobile app using one of the newest tools I've found called DU Recorder, which lets you record your screen on an Android device. And of course, there are other apps out there that probably work great for iPhone and iOS. So just do a Google search, and I'm sure you'll find. But no, don't do a Google search. Search in your actual app store. That's the best place to search for these things. And search for Screen Recorder. Don't search for Screencast. There's almost like an art to searching. You got to know what to search for. Search for Screen Recorder. When you're searching that in your app store, you're going to get the right context. You should get a good result from that and find some useful apps that can be used for the purpose. So let's look at how to use Dynalist, the making of a video blog tutorial. First of all, this is not what I want to be my final title. Not necessarily anyway. It could be. So the first thing I want to do, and first of all, let's overview Dynalist now. Why am I using Dynalist? It's the same thing as Workflowy, essentially, but I like Dynalist better. And that wasn't the case when I first looked at Dynalist. When I first looked at Dynalist, there were differences in navigation that I felt made Workflowy much easier to work with. But Dynalist has made a lot of changes, and that's one of the key distinctions I noticed between the two apps, is I see a lot of changes and updates happening with Dynalist. I see very little going on with Workflowy. So that leads me to believe that this is the better long-term solution because it will keep improving with time. So might as well get into the habit of using this app instead of Workflowy. And incidentally, they have an easy way to import all your Workflowy stuff in case you've been using that up until now. What I also like about Dynalist is the organization of it, where you basically create folders and then you create documents within folders. So here I have a Nerd Enterprises folder, within that a folder for content, and of course within that a document specifically called How to Use Dynalist. So Workflowy doesn't have any of that kind of navigation. So now I'm just going to stay focused on Dynalist. So once you create a document, you go into that document, and now I can start creating bullet points, right? And so the first thing I want to do is titles, right? And then the second thing I want to do is my outline. Now, if I want to go into titles, I just click on the zoom in, and now I'm focusing right on the titles. What might be my titles? What would somebody be searching for when looking for, where do I want my search results to show up with this post, right? What might people be searching for? A project management tool, but that's too broad, right? Something where I can make lists, yes, but that's also kind of broad. How about outlining your project with a great list making app? And this is the thought process that goes into creating a title. And the bottom line is you just want to write out maybe 4 or 5 bullet points that could become titles, but the reality is you're probably not going to want to come up with your final title until after the content has been written. So I don't want to use make lists not war because that's Workflowy's tagline, so it'd be kind of wrong to use that here on a video about Dynalist. But maybe making lists on steroids. And don't worry too much about the SEO part of this just yet. Just get the concepts down. Making lists on steroids, because that's kind of what Dynalist is. Organizing your thoughts with a great list making app. I might even just pull it right into the very specific context that I'm doing here. Use Dynalist to organize your content. All right, now let's back up, and I can click right up here, back up to the top level, and let's get into the outline. So if I'm doing a post on Dynalist itself, what topics do I want to cover? Basic navigation. I want to cover how to organize lists, not hoe. That's a different video, right? And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them how to indent, outdent, right? And so right now, it's a little duplicitous because I'm recording a video that shows you how I'm planning on this, and then I'm going to record the actual video that I'm coming up with based on this outline. So it's like two things. I'm getting two for the price of one here. So what else would I want to show somebody? There's a lot that you can do when you go to the menu, right? You can move, you can turn something into a checklist. You can number the children, right? So if I go here, for example, and I say number children, notice this becomes a number 1. What else would I want to show in terms of organization? How to number children, right? And a lot of times what I'm going to do to get ideas for what I want to cover in the video is just look through the menus. What options do I want to show people, right? They instead of outdent, they call it unindent, which is kind of funny. Getting a link maybe for another video, maybe a little more advanced. Again, we want to keep this real simple. We want to try and keep this to 5 minutes or less. So this is how I'm going to come up with the outline. I'm not going to bore you watching me go through the entire process. I just wanted to use this video to give you an idea of what that looks like. Now I'm going to stop recording and actually get into finishing the outline and recording the final video, which of course when you're watching this one, I'll link you to that one so that you can see what the outcome looks like. But Dynalist is a great tool for this kind of thing. And for a lot of other things too. Anytime you need to organize your thoughts, I would recommend using this tool. And then you're going to see, and many of you know if you follow my content, that much of the rest of this is going to be done. I'm going to write the content in Google Docs, and I'm going to link it all in my note here in Evernote. In fact, I can even go back up to this level, and I can say get link, right? And it's been copied to my clipboard. And now we're going to go to Evernote, and I'm going to paste in here. I'm going to give myself a few lines because there's going to be something else I want up there. Dynalist outline. Boom. Just so I have a record of it. And this way, as you've seen in previous videos that I've done, Evernote becomes like the headquarters where from this note in Evernote, I'll be able to access anything I did around the creation of this content. So I'm going to get the DSLR camera set up for shooting. A couple of things I need to do. First of all, I need to take the cap off. Right, so let's do that. And then this little guy actually comes off and gets turned around. It's hard to do this with one hand, especially when I'm using my left hand and I'm a righty. This should be easier. This just kind of filters out some of the extra light that might otherwise come in from the sides, so it's a good thing to have. And then I have my lavalier mics. Here is the one that goes onto me, and the receiver is already connected to the camera and all hooked up, ready to go. So I'm going to get myself mic'd up with that and then start the recording. Time to see what's going on. Usually we get lots of trick-or-treaters in our neighborhood on Halloween. It's still early though. They usually don't come until later. But usually my neighbors would be out, setting up, decorating. I don't know, maybe we're just getting out of the Halloween spirit these days. Oh well.